What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Stories with Mr. Ahamad. Thank you so much for joining me here in my home. It's always a pleasure to have you here listening to me talk about books. Now, if you remember in last episode, I was talking about how there is nothing like a good match, and I was referring to Nic Stone's Dear Martin. Well, guess what? I found another good match, also by Nic Stone, and this time it's her 2019 book, Jackpot. This is her third book, and it is so good. Now, I thought that she did her thing in Dear Martin. You know, I was about it. It related to me because I'm a young black guy and the main character is a young black guy dealing with microaggressions, etc. But no, this book is about the economy. This book is about finances. This book is about being broke. And as someone who struggled to become a teacher because of how much it costs, I know what it's like to be broke. Maybe not as much as the characters in this book, but man, let me tell you, the stuff that the main character Rico feels in this book as she's going through her day-to-day activities, going to school, going to work, going grocery shopping, whatever it is that she's doing, she is always calculating, always doing math about how much she has to work in order to pay something off and whether or not she can afford something because she knows that she's going to have to work more to get it. I've been there. I think a lot of people have been there. And that's why this book is so important, because it's so easy to forget what poverty and financial struggle can do to someone in terms of their ability to just move forward with day to day, in terms of their ability to think long term, in terms of their ability to dream, in terms of their ability to really just allow themselves the opportunity to live. That's a lot of what this book is like. All of this brings me to Rico's story and the premise of this book. Rico is part of a family of 3 and they are financially strapped. There is just never enough money to go around for them to pay bills or to cover groceries or for them to do any activities that exist outside of their responsibilities to earning income, because that's how little they have. Rico is 17, but she doesn't feel like a teenager because she has been placed in this position where she has had to grow up sooner than she should have, because she constantly has to go to work to supplement her mom's income so they can try to cover bills. So when she's in school, she's thinking about how many hours she has to do at work. When she's at work, she's thinking about how many more hours she can do so that she can cover the other things that they need. And you know, when I think about the exchanges between Rico and her mom and how they're so strung out over the money, it really makes me think about that one scene in Spider-Man 2 that was way too real for it to be in a superhero movie.
Here, kiddo, happy birthday. You need it more than I do.
No, I can't take that.
Yes, you can. You can take this money from me. For God's sake, it's not much. Now take it. And don't you dare leave it here. Oh, I'm sorry.
And then when Rico is talking about what the lottery ticket would mean to her, to Zan, and she's going over her experiences of being poor with Jess, who lives next door to her, but she's white, so it shows us that poverty isn't mutually exclusive to being black. It really made me think about that one rooftop scene in the lottery.
You ain't in my shoes, so you don't know what it feels like.
Look at this, look at this, look at us. Kevin,
I'm not looking over there,
look at our
man.
circumstances, man. Look where we from. I'm tired of this, man. I'm sick of worrying about wet cars. I'm sick of worrying about the government. I can't eat. I'm broke. I'm broke. And you got the power to change that, Kev. Nobody else. You. Kevin, if I had the money, not only will I give back, I would change lives. The sad thing is, you know me for this long, and you still don't get it.
Reading this book really made me think about those scenes, and that's important because it speaks to how well written this book is. Like the way that we internalize poverty, or the way that we think and talk about financial turmoil and struggle. These are important conversations to have, and for me to think about those scenes while reading this book, that's just a testament to good writing, because it's opening my mind into what can I bring into my classroom to talk more about financial literacy so that none of my students will have to experience this kind of life in the future, if possible. While this can be really difficult to read and to walk in Rico's shoes and to experience this if you've experienced it before, the thing is that Nic Stone does a great job of writing this so that you can learn about this without it feeling so heavy-handed or overwhelming. Between the romance that's involved and the dialogue and this kind of mystery private detective storyline happening, it's a lot of fun to get through while learning about those issues of poverty and financial instability. When we think about the premise, or rather when we get to the premise, what happened was that Rico, working at her gas station, believes that she sold a winning lottery ticket to a little forgetful old woman. So she pulls in this handsome, rich guy at school who has a certain skill set, and she gets him to work alongside her to try to track this woman down and hopefully earn a bit of that lottery winning money. It's a great read, and there's a lot happening. There's a lot in here about choice. There's a lot in here about personal responsibility, not so much as what you need to do for your family, but what you need to do for yourself. There's some things in here about dreaming. There is a lot in here about allowing yourself to feel validated and doing the things that you want and enjoying yourself. Because for some people, if you don't have money or if you don't have the means to enjoy yourself, it may limit how far out you can see and what you're willing to do. It's like, I gotta work to get this money, I gotta work to pay these bills, I gotta work to cover this and take care of this person. And with all that happening, it's easy to forget that your life is about more than just paying bills and more about than just earning an income. It's about making choices. It's about finding love. It's about having friends. It's about, being there not just for those around you, but being there for yourself and telling yourself that you're enough. You have to do that in life. But when you're poor, it's hard to. And Nic Stone covers all of that masterfully. I don't know why more people aren't talking about this. So Jackpot is just a little lengthy. It's about 339 pages, and I know that can be a lot to bring into a high school classroom, but there are a lot of things that you can do with this book, mainly about taking things from the abstract and making it concrete for your students. Teach money, teach financial responsibility, teach financial literacy. These are the things that you can do with this book. When Rico and the guy that she gets to help her / her love interest, Zan, when they get together and they start having these conversations, or when Rico is debating with her mom about signing up for Medicaid, these are really important issues that our students are experiencing in their lives right now. And the thing is that, we want to give them this information. We want to teach them that they are smart enough and skilled enough to go to college to get an education so that they can provide for themselves and their family. But for some students, it's really out of reach because of what they have been around and been exposed to and what they have to do from the day to day. Some of them are working just to survive. And when you're in that position, you can't really think about what's happening at school or think about what's happening in the future because you're thinking about where's your next meal coming from or whether or not you'll have a place to sleep at the end of the month. Those are really important, and you can use this as a text to put that stuff out there and to keep it in the text. So when we teach financial literacy, or when we try to do that, you can bring in local banks, or you can look at Dave Ramsey, who talks about how to get out of debt. You can teach credit, teach students how to write a check, teach students how to balance a checkbook. And I know that with digital banking, we don't need to balance checkbooks these days, is that it's important to keep like a running list in your head of how much money you have against your spending, because when you think about credit has made things so easy to get that you end up spending more, likely beyond your means. These are things that we can teach. These are things that our students need to know, and it's really important. That's a way to take this literature and to make it speak to their life immediately. I think another thing that we can do is to talk about the cost of college. There's this really cool episode of Adam Ruins Everything where he talks about student loans.
Sally Mae, really doing everybody dirty like that.
I'm afraid so. And soon, students were stuck with the worst kind of debt you can have. Often, they're encouraged to take out more loans than they can even afford.
What's happening?
Don't worry about that right now. These are the best 4 years of your life.
Yeah, I'm 17. I know what I'm doing. Hey, my payments are super low. I'll finish these soon.
Sorry, you won't.
No.
Many borrowers have monthly payments that are so low, they don't even cover the interest. You could be in a situation where you're paying hundreds of dollars a month, but the amount you owe is still growing.
Oh, God, I can't keep up with this.
Along with that, it could be really important to go over interest rates and what that exactly means. I think one of the things for students, especially students in inner cities, and I'm not just saying black students or brown students, but just in the city, when you're in the city, it's all about stunting. It's all about what you got. So it's important to go over with students that making it and being wealthy or being well off isn't about putting things on your back and showing out in what you're wearing. It's about investing, and it's about having that responsibility so that you have money for the future. All of that can come from this book. It's all here. And lastly, another thing that you can look at is just how Nic Stone writes. Once again, she goes in and she has her narrative, but then she has these short chapters where it's written from inanimate objects. It's written from those objects' perspectives. And it's a lot of fun. It's very creative, and it helps to tell the story in a not so straightforward way. This is literary gold right here. Honestly, there's just so much that I love about this book. Rico is a fantastic character, and Nic Stone does this amazing thing where, yes, Rico's biracial, she's black and Spanish, right? But the cause of her poverty has nothing to do with the fact that she's black. It does add context to the conversation and allows some people to see themselves, but it also goes beyond that by introducing the idea that poverty isn't mutually exclusive to being a person of color. On the flip side, with Zan, who's super rich, is that guy is half Mexican. So, being wealthy isn't mutually exclusive to being white. That's tackled in here, and it's something that isn't done super explicitly, which makes it that much more interesting and that much more accessible because you'll absorb it subconsciously. You can go over that. And this is just such a fun book. It's so good. The romance is awesome. I didn't even know that I enjoyed romance, but I was reading this book and I was so about it. It felt like, I don't know, this needs more play. This needs more attention because it's such a wonderful book. And if you haven't been able to tell about how I've been talking about it, you should definitely read it. And teachers, try to get this into your classroom. Things that you can do with crossing over with math or business classes or economics or even history to really talk about how debt and poverty even becomes a thing for some people. It's in here. You should really look at this.